Take two. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to, it's Monday. Welcome to the first of this week's two #Whimsdom sessions, our live twice weekly Q&A sessions where you guys get to ask any questions about anything that you're struggling with in your lives that I could possibly give guidance on. Also, kind of try this on, see if you like my energy, see if maybe working with me as your people-pleasing guide and coach is something that you would want to explore. Either way, you can explore that super deep by booking a Lady Balls Roadmap session. I love doing those. It's 90 minutes, all for you. It's totally free. Let's talk afterward if you would be interested. But tonight's topic is so important, and I'm giving it space all for itself. We're just doing this one question tonight. But if you have questions of your own, you can submit them via message, or if you catch this live stream, you can pop them in the comments, and I will put them in the log for the next live Q&A. And of course, if you have questions about what we're talking about right now, pop them in the comments. But let's get to it. So I was talking to one of my clients, and this I know has happened to all of us. Maybe even people that don't realize that they are a people pleaser, or they are and have been a codependent or an enabler to someone. Because let's touch on enabling really quick. The term enabler is super stressful. It has tones of like Munchausen in it. You know what Munchausen is? It's a syndrome where you make someone sick and you keep them sick, but you're like their caregiver. So have you ever heard of like moms that make their kids sick so that they can take care of them? That's Munchausen. So when they're from the outside looking in and they're like, oh, she's such an enabler. Her boyfriend's an addict, she's such an enabler. But the enabler doesn't hear those things. It's almost insulting. Like, don't call me a fucking enabler. Like, I love this person. I'm trying to help them day in and day out. I'm not hurting them. I'm trying to help them. They don't see what they're doing. They don't hear what they're doing. They don't understand what they're doing because it's so far removed, and their subconscious and their fears have put up such a wall around it. So even the term enabler can be really offensive to someone who's like super deep in their shit. But basically, to set the scenario, this beautiful client, recovering codependent, people-pleasing enabler, with a past of being in relationships with addicts, trying to help people, getting drowned by other people's issues, and the person that she is currently dating, recovering alcoholic, depression, anxiety, and they're both very open with each other, and they know each other's past and each other's difficulties, which is why I'm sure that they've connected so well. But basically, she was telling me, she said, I stood up for what my mind and my body needed on a weeknight when I was asked to go chill with him. My body needed rest. I needed to stay focused for the week, and I knew that if I went out, then it would just wreck my whole week, and I needed to just stay here and not go sleep over at his place or go hang out and spend a lot of time. I needed to do other things. I put my foot down and I did what was right for my body, and I was like, oh, sorry, I'd rather do it on a weekend. Let's wait till the weekend. And his response was, yeah, I probably wouldn't want to spend time with me either. Something very, very, almost like if you're thinking in a comic sense, almost like Eeyore, it's going to tug at your guilt strings if you are a codependent or an enabler. And it did. She said, it tugged at my guilt strings. It pissed me off because I was doing something very healthy for myself. And it was like, he knew that would put a jab in it. It's fine. I don't need your support tonight. Whatever. I'm lonely. It's fine. I'll be all alone. That kind of we've all had that happen, right? We've all had someone that we're there for, we want to help, we know has issues, and then they just, the one time we can't, or the one time we really do what we need to be doing, they throw that out there. They throw it out there, and it tugs on the string. So basically the question, if we had to wrap it into a question, was how do you support someone without getting taken down with them? Hey viewer! So yeah, how do you support someone without getting taken down with them? And this is such an incredible topic because, like I said, the term enabler has such a Munchausen tone to it, and you don't know you're doing it, and you don't see that you're doing it because, this is why enablers don't see this, it's because you are legitimately only trying to help, or you're trying to love, support, and help someone. That's how that happens, right? You're just trying to love, support, and help someone. That's why we're people pleasers. That's why we're codependents. That's why we're enablers, because we have a gift for understanding, empathizing with, and a gift for turning that into love, support, and help. But here's the thing. Let me look at my notes real quick just to make sure I didn't blaze over something in my passion. Okay, good. So enablers are not born. Codependents are not born. We're made. We are absolutely made. We are crafted meticulously, because addicts develop this special, like, self-sustaining, I don't want to call it a gift, we'll call it a skill. They develop this special self-sustaining skill of nurturing their own addiction, because addiction it's this own entity, and it wants to be kept alive, and it's going to do whatever it needs to be kept alive. And addicts have this ability. They grow this self-sustaining skill to nurture that addiction, and they do that by creating and fostering our enabling patterns, because they know that that is going to support their addiction. And they do that through manipulation of our willingness and our need and our yearning to love, support, and help. And I'm not saying like addicts are the devil. I'm just saying, like, when someone is an addict and they have fallen into that place, that's the only thing that's going on. That addiction is taken over, and it's like, how can we make sure that the addiction stays up front, foremost, all the time? And so they start doing things to support that. And a lot of people think that the opposite of people pleasing, the opposite of being codependent, the opposite of being an enabler is the don't give a fuck cold shoulder. And here's the thing with that. Don't give a fuck cold shoulder is a personality trait. It's not just an answer to whether or not you are enabling someone. It is a personality trait. It means that you're most likely not an empathic individual, or if you are, you're not a compassionate empath. You're simply someone that is affected by others' energy, but isn't on the same empathetic level as someone who has that need to love, support, and help. And it doesn't, neither person is bad or more weak or more strong than the other. It's just a personality trait. It just means that your energy knows where it wants to be spent, and it's like, no, we don't have time for that. That doesn't serve us. Like, no, don't give a fuck. And it comes off feeling like a cold shoulder. So that's an energy trait. And we've talked about this before. You cannot fake shit. If you fake anything in your life, it is going to separate you. Oh, my foot's asleep. It is going to separate you from your true alignment with your authentic self. You cannot try on, I mean, I guess you can try it on, but you can't, what's the word? Project isn't really the right word. Adopt. You can't adopt someone else's personality traits. You just can't. You can try them on, see what fits, see what doesn't, whatever, but you're not going to change your true alignment and who you are fundamentally. By the way, people pleaser, enabler, codependent, that is not who you are. Your gift for giving true love and support and help, that is who you are. But it gets muddled and fucked up, and it gets molded into an enabler, codependent, people pleaser. So you can't adopt someone else's personality traits. You can't fake it. You can't fake shit in your life. Faking it till you make it, it's not a real thing. Faking it till you make it means that you are purposefully stepping away from your alignment to wear a costume and bully your mind and your body into achieving results wearing that costume. And it will catch up to you, and you will find yourself farther away from your alignment than you've ever been, lost, depressed, fucked up. It's just not a good place to be in. We've all been there from time to time, but it's just not a good place to be in. You want to be as close to your alignment as possible. That's when things in life start feeling easy and flowing and love-filled and wonderful. So you don't have to be cold. Because here's the thing, it's like, okay, so you're telling me I can't do a cold shoulder, and I can't be like, don't give a fuck, because that's not who I am, that's not my personality trait. So am I just like destined to be an enabler? Fuck no. Fuck no, you are not. And that is where I come in, if you want to work deeper on it, but let's just talk about the surface level of it right now. You don't have to be cold, because as an empathic person, your need to love and support and help, that's not where you serve best. That is not how you actually help people, by doing the cold shoulder and not giving a fuck. So you don't have to stop giving a fuck. You don't have to be cold. You just have to flip it. And you guys know I'm gonna flip this sheet right now. You guys know how I love to flip shit upside down. Because, fuck society's idea of what's working and what's not. We can see what's not working, and we just need to see it from underneath to really understand a lot of things in life. So we're gonna flip this upside down, and you don't have to stop giving a fuck, because that's not who you are. If you've become an enabler, it's not who you are. You have a gift. You have a gift for giving true love and support and help. So don't squash that, okay? Don't ever try to squash that. Don't ever try to squash your ability to feel others' energy, your ability to feel what other people are going through. No. You just have to learn how to use that and live in the gift side of it rather than the curse side of it. So don't squash that ability to love, support, and help. Instead, redirect it. Hey, viewer! So instead, just redirect that ability to love, support, and help, that gift that comes from deep within. If you are an empathic people pleaser, enabler, codependent, flip it upside down. Your amazing gift and innate ability to love, support, and help. And it's really easy. If you redirect it, what happens? You're giving it out to someone else. Turn it on yourself. And I know that sounds like an obnoxious answer, but turn that on yourself. And it's the hardest thing for a people pleaser or an enabler or a codependent to do, because they're like, no, if I just focus on me, then I'm not helping them at all. And that is so far from the truth. If you turn that, hey, Christina, how do you have rejection sensitivity? Ooh, that is a good question. Let me wrap up this thought and we will kind of dive into that. So just turning your gift and ability to love, support, and help on yourself. And you do that by to love and support yourself through this, especially if you're helping someone, an addict or someone go through a hard thing. Love yourself by respecting your energy and the strength it takes to make a firm decision for yourself. It's one of the most uncomfortable things for a people pleaser, is putting our foot down because we know it's the best for us, but then sticking to it. Because that, sacrificing ourselves for others, that's not hard for us. Sticking up for ourselves, that's hard for us. So loving yourself by respecting your energy enough to give yourself props and support to get through that decision. Supporting yourself, using your gift to support yourself, be there for yourself, to allow, instead of expecting the other person, the addict or the taker in the relationship, instead of expecting them to have the right reaction to make you feel better about your choice to stand in your integrity, your choice to stick up for yourself, instead of that, just be there for yourself. Because this allows them the detachment, this allows them the space to react however they're gonna react. Because remember, you're on two different paths here, you're two different human beings. And having to rely on them to make you feel like your decision was worth it, that can be one of the most abrupt stops to your emotional growth and your happiness. So give them that space. Support yourself. Be there for yourself to give them the space to react however they're going to react to you sticking up for yourself and putting your foot down and making a good decision for yourself. And the last one of love, support, help. The last one of help is design, help yourself make this easier. Help yourself make this a life that is comfortable to live. And you're going to do that by designing the support in your life. By designing the support in your life and making sure that you're surrounded with people that make it easy to live in this integrity of being strong and sticking up for yourself and doing what's best for you. Not that life is ever going to be easy, and not that we're never going to have people in our lives that are just a little more taxing than others or maybe a little less supportive than others. But the reason, and just like I said, enablers aren't born, they're made. Addicts aren't born, they're made. Yes, everyone is predisposed to a certain extent, depending on their genealogy, but addicts fall into addiction because it just gets too hard to keep saying no. For whatever, and not just the literal term of have drugs, no, but of whatever's going on in their life. And that's also how enablers are made, because it gets too hard to keep saying no. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with the kind of support that when you say yes to yourself, rather than having to keep saying no to other people, it actually feels good and it's not a constant struggle. So make sure you're not surrounded by people that are constantly making you fight for what's going to be best for you. Okay? So surrounding yourself in a place, just like an addict. If you're an addict and you have roommates that are addicts, you're surrounding yourself with the heavy burden every day of having to say no. And it just gets to be too much. So just a little note to help you is just like, instead of making life so hard by having to say no all the time, say yes to the hard things. And for you enablers and codependents out there, and you people pleasers out there, the hard thing is doing what's right for you. It's so easy for other people, but it's so hard for us. So say yes to doing that hard thing, okay? I hope this helps with that question. It was an amazing, amazing question. Christina, how do you deal with rejection sensitivity? I'm gonna give you time to give me like kind of a for instance. So do you mean relationship-wise? Like, are you being sexually rejected? Hey, Rebecca! Being sexually rejected? Are you being rejected creatively? Maybe your art is being rejected, your art form, in a career sense. So give me a little like for instance, but I'll go ahead and start talking about rejection sensitivity in that it's funny because it actually does tie into, it's a lot harder for people pleasers too. Rejection sensitivity coming from, as a people-pleasing recovery guide, I'm going to be coming from this from the angle of people pleaser, a codependent, an enabler. And we are so locked in on our feel-good emotions coming from when we know we're making someone else feel good. And if we are liked by someone, hold on just a second. I just got a message here. Sorry. I got a text from Instacart and it interrupted. So, we are really tied into us feeling good by us being able to make others feel good. So people mistake this for us needing to be liked. And it really isn't about that. Like, it really isn't, because especially if you're a pit bull, and we'll talk about pit bulls on Wednesday, but especially if you're a pit bull people pleaser, you don't give a fuck who doesn't like you. I don't give a fuck. You don't like me, you go about your day, it's fine, right? But I get serious rejection sensitivity when it is something about whether or not I made that person feel good or I made that person happy. So it's not really about them liking me. So when we're having to deal with sensitivity and rejection, it's always so healthy. It's always so healthy to turn it on ourselves, but not in that like microscopic, like, why are they rejecting me? What did I do wrong? What am I not doing right? What isn't enough about me? And turning it on you in the sense of what would have made me feel so good about being accepted, and getting as many layers deep as you can. Because there are several layers to that. Like, for instance, if it is a relationship thing, for rejection in a relationship, you can ask yourself, what would have made me feel so good about being accepted? You know, if you asked someone out and they said no, or if you made a sexual advance and your partner said no, whatever. And sometimes the top level can be, because then I would feel attractive. I would know that I was attracted to others. And then you can easily kind of be like, okay, well, that's not really the top, you know, the deepest layer, because my logical brain is like, just because I'm not attracted to one person does not mean I'm not attracted to others. Okay, so there's something underneath that. And you can keep going and going and going until you get to the fundamental basement level of like, he rejected my eggs, you know, or whatever the fundamental basement level is for you. I'm afraid to be alone. I'm afraid of the uncontrollable. But just going through those layers. So you're not actually digging yourself apart, which is so not helpful, but you're picking apart the layers of your fear. Because remember, fear lives with us. It's okay that it's right there, but we need to be brave enough to be like, I can touch my fear. Poke, poke. Not only can I touch it, I can kind of look into it, peel up the layers. I can lift its skirt. You can lift fear's skirt, okay? Okay? And it's like so weird with like this day and age and like sexual harassment stuff, but you can lift fear's skirt, your fear, not other people's fear. That's weird, that's gross, that gets sketchy. But you can actually dig into the layers of your fear, because then you're not dissecting what's wrong with you. You're dissecting what's wrong with your fear, because that is what gives us those icky feelings. Okay, being rejected by friends and family for being different. Have mental health challenges, so you keep trying to be the bigger person and please them to prove that you're okay. Oh. Also, in today's society, people seem to act ruder and ruder about returning calls, texts, etc. Yes, they absolutely do. Constantly being the friend to set up and arrange get-togethers, etc., and then being put off or stood up. Girl, yes. Yes, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you might just be a people pleaser. Yes. And I'll say that because other people that are not people pleasers, when they put a lot of effort into something, or they're the one that always seems to be the one that has to make stuff happen, when they get rejected or blown off or put off or anything stood up, it's mind-boggling to us, but it somehow doesn't affect them. They're just like, whatever, fine, I just won't do it again. That doesn't even occur to us, right? We keep trying to do it. Instead of being like, okay, well, I'm just not going to arrange the next get-together because no one can return my calls. I'll just show up to whatever they invite me to. Okay. Like, instead of us doing that, because we're just like, would never occur to us. Instead, we keep trying, and then while it keeps perpetuating the cycle, we keep, every time we get rejected, every time someone doesn't show up, every time someone doesn't return a phone call, every time someone doesn't answer the poll of like, where do you want to eat tonight, ladies? And one person's just like, whatever. Every time that happens, we turn it on ourselves in that bad way of, why aren't they responding to me? Like, I am doing all this to help them. Why aren't they helping me do this? Like, this is a good thing. What's wrong with me? And it just keeps, it's like if we look into ourselves. Ourselves is just a glass bowl, a beautiful glass bowl with crystal clear water that can just get muddy sometimes. And if we dig into it, we're just going to swim around a round bowl, and it's just, that's it. That's our being. But if we dig into our fear, that shit can be as deep as it wants to be. So we can actually get somewhere if we dig into the fear and the reasons of, but why would it have made me feel good for all of this to work out? And then you get into the realness of it of, okay, if I arranged this whole evening for all these bitches to come out, everyone returned the texts on time, everyone showed up, we had a great time, it was awesome, and then why would that make me feel so good and accepted? And maybe the top layer is because it would make me feel like I did a good job. And then you can go a layer under that, be like, but why do I need to feel like I did a good job? Like, why do I need a pat on the head as a grown-up? And you can keep going lower and lower and lower and just really being as objective as you need to, because you're digging into your fear. And while you do that, that bowl of beautiful liquid that you are gets clearer and clearer. Instead of you diving into you, what's wrong with me? You're just a bowl of water. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. It's just all the layers of fear that have built up. Figure out what's wrong with them. Figure out why it's trying to fuck up your life. So, yeah, I hope that feels better. Christina, girl, it's one of the big things. Actually, the first module in my master program is called Bitch Please. That was the first module in my beta program. It was called Bitch Please. And it was just about that. It takes that moment. In a people pleaser's life, or an enabler, codependent, we can go, and it's different for everyone, but there is that one just crystal clear moment of like, are you fucking kidding me? Out of all I have done, this is what you're gonna do. And it takes that moment for us to finally start kind of seeing past the haze that we've put up, that we've allowed ourselves to mistake or misbelieve about our actions and why we're doing them, and the effort that we were putting toward others, and the energy that we're just wasting because it's not coming back in. And that's when I love for people to start working with me, because they've already kind of like peeked behind the curtain and they're like, something's fucked up about this. Like, this doesn't feel good. I could live a better life than this. So yes, I'm so glad you asked that question. You guys, I hope these two questions helped you out so much. We do this every Monday and Friday. Submit any questions via message, or just like Christina, if you happen on the live feed, pop a question in here. I love you guys so much. Make sure that if my kind of wisdom, if my kind of guidance helps you, and you want to continue this kind of thing like in a one-on-one setting, or really get nitty and gritty into your own recovery, just schedule your 90-minute Lady Balls Roadmap call. We'll have to call it that, because it takes balls to change, y'all, okay? So just schedule your call. It's 90 minutes just for you, and we figure out what's going on in your life, what needs to change, and if we would be good to work together, and if I can even help. I love you guys so much. Have an amazing rest of your Monday.